week 3's in the books. Of course,
Yes.
we'd rather a W than an L, but I saw a lot of great things going on both offense and defense. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, again, as you mentioned, obviously the goal is to win the game. You play, back-to-back state champions. Obviously, that's difficult to do, but that's the expectation. That's what we wanted, and so our kids are obviously disappointed as well as coaches. But saw some good things as you mentioned. Very encouraging things, both offensively, defensively, and on special teams. And you kind of, as a coach, ultimately, like obviously you want to win the game, but you're trying to win, the next one, on through the playoffs, and ultimately, hopefully, the state championship. As you get going. So it's all a process. We know that we need to improve in a lot of areas. Felt like we saw some improvement in some areas. And obviously still plenty of room for improvement in a lot of other areas, but kind of see just the building blocks continue to kind of stack up moving forward into the season.
Okay. One of the things that I focus on the broadcast, I was focused on small victories because, this isn't a district game.
Right.
And so small victories. And so one of the things, Choctaw, 90% of the time, scores coming out of halftime. And I've noticed that most high school teams, after halftime, score. They make all these adjustments. They have all this technology to fix something.
Right.
But you guys stopped Bixby coming out of half. Tell me a little bit about, I call that a small victory. Tell me a little bit about, coming out of halftime and what you do.
Right. So, obviously try to go make adjustments. We have sideline replay and all those kind of things. So ultimately you're trying to see hey, what's hitting us on defense, what do we need to shore up? And then offensively, what little adjustments do we need to make that, on what they're doing? And kind of the flip side of that is, obviously they're making adjustments too, as well, because they have the same technology that we do. And so, there's a little bit of that cat and mouse game and a little bit of that chess match that goes on. But that's one of our goals defensively is to, we call them critical stops, to have, a stop right after halftime. Then obviously on the inverse is offensively our goal is to score right after halftime, and so those are always, big momentum swings in a game, that you're able to do. And so it's proud of the defense for being able to make a big stop coming out of halftime, and then, proud of the offense for being able to punch one in, after as well.
Of course. As a fan, one of the things that I'm super happy about, I knew that they were coming out firing on all cylinders. They didn't quit. They were ready to play some football. They were ready to stay competitive. And that's always a good thing to see as a fan, that this is a team that plays 4 quarters.
Right. No, absolutely. Our kids are super tough. They're really resilient. They always have been, always will be. And it was fun to watch them continue to battle and fly around and, make plays in the second half and win the second half, and there's no moral victories. You want to go win the game, but ultimately, you're trying to, continue to, build on something for the season. And so, you want to continue to see guys that continue to put forth great effort and relentlessly, pursue the football on both sides of the ball and give great effort, and they did, And so my hat's off the kids. They were a lot of fun to continue to, go to battle with. And you get to kind of see a, state semifinal, state championship type of a team, an atmosphere and all that stuff, and go against them, and then go play a 4-quarter, game and go battle and see what happens.
Okay. So let's go get on to offensive players of the game. Let's start there.
Yeah, I was told we had 600 and something yards of offense, which is quite a bit, of offense, especially against a really good defense. And so a lot of guys stood out in that. But one guy I thought just played, absolutely, fantastic. Made a lot of really, really good decisions. Got us out of a lot of bad plays. And just, made plays with his feet, made plays with his arms, and I thought just managed the game against a really tremendous defense, super, super well. Was Cash Williams.
Yeah.
Had over, almost 450 yards of total offense, including, running and throwing. Just did a really, really good job managing some snap situations and a lot of pre-snap movement and all that kind of stuff that we ask of him, and a lot of different reads, and was really on point all night. Just did a fantastic job of just keeping us in the game, making really good decisions, like I said, with not only his feet, but his arm as well. And, and just really, was super proud of him, how he managed that. Because, obviously that's a very good defense that you're going against. It's not easy at all, and just did an absolutely fantastic job. So, offensive player of the game was an easy choice to me. It was Cash Williams.
Okay. Well, I kind of went the opposite side of that. I had a hard time deciding, and then I was watching some football this weekend because, I like to watch football.
Right.
And, Cash is only as good as his line.
There's no doubt.
And so I was really impressed, especially looking at how many defensive linemen rotated in and out. Mm-hmm. And our line was just in there, and they were good protection.
Right.
You can't have a mediocre line and get 600 yards.
Right, no doubt.
So I thought the whole line, to me, was the player of the game. and I thought that they really enabled all of our weapons to fire.
Yeah.
So
Right. And I know Cash would first tell you that, and obviously as a head coach would first tell you that too. That's where it starts and stops with the O-line. And I was impressed about how we managed their front seven. Because obviously there are a lot of Division I players in that front seven, a lot of Power 5 guys, multiple offers, and all those kind of things. And future college players at high levels, and we're able to get movement and stuff like that. And so kind of encouraged on that. Obviously had some miss haps and whatnot during
Right.
the game up front, but for the most part able to get some movement, and was impressed with them.
yeah. Well, that sounds good. Now let's go to the other side of things. Let's go defensive player.
Yeah, defense player of the game. Could have went a couple different ways. I thought Cole Tyre had a great game. Had him outside backer and safety as well. Some other guys played tremendously. D Green had a big interception. But our player of the game is based off production points, and so we actually have a formula for it that our defensive staff does. And you get so many points for tackles for loss, strip sacks, all the different things. And our player of the game, not only to me visually but also statistically, was kind of a newcomer. It's kind of nice to see was sophomore Israel Hammonds.
Okay, yeah.
Number 25, and so Izzy had the most production points. Showed up, had a huge forced fumble. Multiple tackles for loss and multiple tackles, and I thought that he kind of had a coming out party on Friday and just kind of showed everybody what we've seen in practice before, and what he's capable of doing. And so our player of the game was Israel Hammonds.
Yeah. And it's harder for me, excuse me, it's harder for me I don't get all these production points.
Right.
And, so when I was looking at it, they were firing as a unit, but I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm looking at the line again.
Yeah.
They had to stay in there, and really you can say the line in the front seven.
Right.
I thought they did a fantastic job just keeping up and staying up and preventing Bigsby from getting easy yardage. Like they were jamming up that line. They were countering that offensive line. Like we belonged on that field.
Right.
Bottom line is we belonged on that field. And I would bet you maybe Bigsby came out on top this time, but if we had to play him 10 times, we're not losing all 10. We're gonna beat them a couple.
Right.
At least.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
we'd like to think that, but again, didn't on Friday, or hats off to them,
Yeah.
all those things. Tremendous football program and team, and that's the program. Obviously, everyone across the state's kind of chasing, and really across the country is doing a fantastic job. And so,
Yeah.
and that's why we schedule them. I don't know how much viewers understand, but we don't have to play them. That's not something that we have to do.
Right.
We didn't have to play Gardner Edgerton. We didn't have to play Lubbock Monterey. You go out scheduling these difficult teams to ultimately find out things about your team early, and
Right.
get into district play. And sometimes that helps, sometimes it may hurt, but you want to find out really, really early with a challenging non-district schedule. And obviously we put together really, really challenging ones,
Yes,
so
you
you're
did.
able to find out stuff very quickly. So my hat's off to Bixby, very, very good football team, tremendous program, all those things. And that's something that here at Choctaw that we're trying to kind of take that next step and continue to get one step closer to being able to be on that level.
Well, I came off the game feeling good Saturday morning. I felt a lot of pride towards our coaching staff, our players. I felt like everybody put the full effort. I felt like they walked off the field winners, even though they got an L for the thing. But again, this now ends kind of the warm-up part of our season. Yes, it counts as our wins-loss record, but we easily could have been 0-3. You could also pick some teams that didn't help us and been 3-0.
Sure.
But either way, we're going into this next week. This week right now, first district game. And so talk to me a little bit about, first of all, practice players of the game this week.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about the practice players of the week that we've had, and talk to me about maybe did that Kansas game help us to prepare for this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out. We'll find out tonight, but we hope so. Obviously, this is our second go around with the option-based attack. A version of Flexbone. That both Piedmont and Gardner Edgerton run. Really cool offense. Difficult to stop. Make you be gap sound. Make you play. What they call assignment football. You have to have someone on the dive, someone on the quarterback, someone on the pitch. Make sure that you can do that through a tremendous amount of eye candy and motions and all that kind of stuff to kind of get you get your eyes in the wrong spot. So, guys that, last week that helped us prepare, the offensive, which is chosen by the defensive staff, practice player of the week was Dylan Dotson.
Okay.
Sophomore running back, does a great job every day, just going in and, playing scout team running back and then starting defense, which is not an easy task.
No.
And does that every day. Great attitude, just tremendous young man, huge future, continues to get better and better, and shines on Monday nights. And then our defensive practice or scout team players of the week chosen by our offensive staff was another sophomore, Trevor Henney. Just shows up every day, linebacker, works his tail off, inside run from team to all the different things, and always has a great attitude, works his tail off, has tremendous amount of respect from our program just from how hard he works. And we had a co this week, and the second one was junior Josh Murdoch. And Josh continues to kind of grow and get bigger and better, each and every year. And just, again, same story, plays inside, does inside run, does team, does all the different things, takes a pounding from the offensive line that you mentioned, who do a really, really good job, and just, gets right back up, has a great attitude, understands his roles to help the team, and does that very, very well. And so all three of those guys are our practice players of the week. And then, as you mentioned, kind of getting used to the, ground-based attack for moving forward to tonight's game with Piedmont, getting the next group for those guys.
Yeah. All right. So you told me a little bit tell me about Piedmont offense. You told me a little bit tell me about defense and tell me, kind of what we're looking for tonight as fans to see what can we expect?
Yeah. 2-1, really good football team, have a really good, front seven's really good, secondary's really good, so they're solid everywhere. Really, really big in the middle. They're both interior tackles on defense, are really, really big kids. Do a great job. They're athletic on the edges. Really, really tough, physical inside linebackers. Was told, one of the D linemen is a state champion wrestler. So a heavyweight. Really tough kid. Just do a good job of kind of making you snap it again. They're not hyper aggressive on defense. Run a 4-2 base. And try to make you continue to snap the ball and string together long drives to beat them. They don't want to give up the big play. They want to make sure that they play complementary football to their offense, because their offense is going to chew up a lot of clock. Limit your possessions to just a handful a game. We had 93 snaps against Bixby, and I can promise you we will not have 93 snaps against Piedmont. We won't get that many opportunities to be able to do that on offense, and so we have to make sure we're very efficient on offense. And also make sure that we're very physical on defense and get 11 hats to the football to be able to stop the option-based attack, which obviously is very difficult to do.
Okay, that sounds good. Of course, this one counts, and
this one counts. Yeah,
this one counts. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing this. I'm looking forward to talking to you next week about we now can see how we measure up in district,
right?
And so we can kind of watch that now. It was kind of a rough. It was kind of a rough last Friday night for 6A2. I think on our side, anyways, Piedmont and Stillwater and us, we all lost to. So I think we're all trying to do the same thing by playing somebody that's really tough to get ready for right now. So
yeah, absolutely,
it's going to be exciting how those cards play out and. Unless you got something else to say, let's go play some football.
Let's do it.
All right. Until then, stay gold.